Hello, and it's on to chapter 16, which is a great chapter because they confront Vampire Lucy, who is like a mid-game boss, if Dracula was a video game, in my mind. So we have a bit of gothic, pathetic fallacy with the night was dark, occasional gleams of moonlight between the rents of the heavy clouds that scudded across the sky. And there is obviously a very consistent gothic atmosphere generated with, I haven't highlighted them all, but there's lots of lexis, lots of words to do with death and graves. Like I see coffin there, look at that as well. And we've got ghastly whiteness, so you can find loads more there. And then as Van Helsing is here now with his cohorts, we have an exclamatory sentence of "the coffin was empty," dun dun dun, even though we have actually been through all this before. But to be fair, Quincey and Arthur haven't, so new to them. So he's just getting two for the price of one, basically. Is this your doing? So again, the question goes to Van Helsing, questioning what he's doing because it's so unbelievable. "I swear to you all, by all that I hold sacred, that I have not removed nor touched her. What happened was this. 2 nights ago, my friend Seward and I came here with good purpose. Believe me." So again, he justifies his actions. And there's more references to the undead here. Lots more pathetic fallacy. Again, I haven't highlighted it all. You can find loads there. There's lots and lots and lots. You're going to know. Chapter 16, you can always remember, it's the confrontation with Lucy the vampire, so it's all easy to find in this chapter. And we have more kind of planning here. A lot of what happens in this sequence is compressed in films, in TV series of it. They compress all of this, so it's actually a bit more drawn out because Stoker is using, obviously, it's the written mode, and he can draw out more suspense from it as well. So, "I'm closing the tomb so that the undead may not enter. And is that stuff you have put they're going to do it?" How could I not do Quincey's voice? "And is that stuff you have put they're gonna do it?" asked Quincey. "Great Scott, is this a game?" But look, he's using a kind of putty. He's using communion wafers. "The host, I brought..." Oh, sorry, again, I'm forgetting to do the voices today. "The host, I brought it from Amsterdam. I have an indulgence." Now notice it's capital I there. What that actually means is Van Helsing has got special permission from the Pope to use these religious items in this way, which I think has come up before. But again, Stoker makes it he's very careful, very meticulous about filling in these little potential, what are often called in modern times as a plot holes and things like that. He's very meticulous about it, so make sure that nothing's left to doubt, really. Then we said about these trees are all associated with graveyards. I said about that last time. And then you have the first appearance, so it's not actually the first appearance because they saw her in the last chapter, but anyway, the first appearance in this chapter of Lucy, a dark-haired woman. Now, what's happened is that classic horror trope, and actually it's not just in horror, it's in lots of other genre fiction, of when a character, particularly when a female character goes evil, and because there's connotations, again, it's all very stereotypical, it's very archetypal. Usually she's blonde, the innocent virginal character going back in time with all of these. So there's a whole batch of prejudice tied up within all this, but just to simplify it a bit, the evil version of Lucy has got dark hair, whereas before she had obviously blonde hair before. And it's just a classic horror trope of signifying now that she's evil, her hair's changed colour. It just happens in these things. And she's wearing her cerements of the grave. That means she's dressed in what she was buried in. And she's carrying a fair head child. So I've already said quite a lot about the horror being exaggerated because you've got a female character preying on children. And remember also that Van Helsing said she hasn't killed anyone yet. So I think that's Stoker keeping it open so she can be redeemed in the eyes of the audience here. Or eyes of the readers, I should say. So now they can't deny it. Arthur can't deny that we've got Lucy here in her vampire form. And we've got antithesis here as well. The sweetness was turned to adamantine, heartless cruelty, and the purity to voluptuous wantonness. If you know anything about the Marvel Universe, you'll know Wolverine's bones are made of adamantium. So you get a clue about what adamantine means, which is, it means really strong, basically. Kind of unbreakable. So also you have these kind of word choices here, voluptuous wantonness. So you've got interesting adjectives here. Voluptuous there as well, and wantonness. This recalls the brides of Dracula, the vampire ladies. The sexy vampire ladies encountered by Jonathan Harker in the earliest chapters. Then we have her face is covered with blood because she's been drinking blood of these children. So there's a sense of horror there as well. And obviously connotations of blood, crimson as a colour. Stained the purity. You could get some interesting connotations out of that as well. Then we have, I call the thing that was before us Lucy because it bore her shape. So emphasising the monstrous element of she's no longer who she was, basically. And thing as a noun. It's obviously dehumanising because she's not human anymore. And this is all kind of predatory stuff as well. Angry snarl, cat. I think it says dog a bit further down as well. Somewhere dog, yeah, as a dog growls over a bone. And we've got demonic connotations, eyes unclean, hellfire. That's deliberate antithesis with gentle orbs. That's how our eyes used to be with how they are now. We've got unholy light, so again more demonic connotations. Voluptuous smiles, so more sexual connotations there. Because she's scary, but she's sexy. So, and then we have, she's got this child, so look at the symbolism here. A child that up to now she had clutched strenuously to her breasts. So Stoker is drawing on these subversions. This is a good one for crossing boundaries as well, but the subversion of motherhood. It's like a twisted representation of motherhood. Lucy is going against her nature. Vampirism is against nature. This, again, I have to be careful how I phrase this because of YouTube guidelines, but I will let you do some of the work here. If I just say there's sexual connotations here to this, yes, I'm going to leave that thought there. But yes, come to me, Arthur. Leave these others and come to me. My arms are hungry for you. Personification. Come and we can rest together. Come, my husband, come. And that's the diacope there, term fans. So yes, sexual connotations, but yeah, you can do the rest of the thinking there. I'm not saying anything. Then we have the next page. Again, more demonic connotations of diabolically sweet, but actually that almost is paradoxical in some ways, isn't it? Something diabolically sweet in her tones. So it maybe seems maybe innocent, but it's not. Something of the tingling of glass when struck. Now, that is a definite anaphoric reference going back to Jonathan Harker's encounter with the brides of Dracula, because you'll remember a very similar sequence there as well. If the sound interrupted then, I had to stop because there was a really noisy motorbike outside and it just annoyed me, so I paused it and then pressed the wrong button. Anyway, so hopefully no disruption there. Then Van Helsing sprang forward and held between them his little golden crucifix. I've highlighted that because it's something that in film and TV you wouldn't want Van Helsing just dangling a tiny little crucifix in front of Vampire Lucy. You'd want him to be jumping out with a really big chunky crucifix that you can grip on, and then you want him shouting at Lucy. But in the real novel, it's slightly more understated. But Yeah, it has the same effect because she records from it. But I thought that was interesting just to highlight it because it's different. And whenever all TV, that they're never going to have him dangling a tiny miniature crucifix. It's never going to happen in any version you'll ever see of it. Then, and I'll say that, and then someone will make one, I'm sure. But anyway. Then we have the brows were wrinkled as though the folds of the flesh were the cause of Medusa's snake. So Medusa, again, a cultural reference. Medusa, obviously the famous mythological female monster, the classic female monster, really, I suppose you can say Medusa, isn't it? The lovely bloodstained mouth grew to an open square as the passion mask of the Greeks and Japanese. So these are cultural references as well. And so if you know about Greek theatre and Japanese kabuki theatre, there's lots of use of masks and things. So her face doesn't look human; it looks different and distorted. And they've often got monstrous masks in those forms of drama as well. If ever a face meant death, if looks could kill, we saw it at that moment. That evokes the idiom of if looks could kill, but I think Seward is using it quite literally here. So that also connects to, and really you could say it's an extended metaphor, really. The idiom kind of extends the metaphor because of the idea of Medusa and if looks could kill. So again, Stoker is really highlighting the threat here, the danger level that we have with Lucy as a vampire and the horror of the situation. Do as you will, friend, do as you will. There can be no horror like this anymore. So this is the horror faced by Arthur of his fiancée as being transformed into a monstrous being. She does something quite cool here, though, because she finds a way back into the tomb. They channel, basically, Van Helsing had removed a little chunk of it, hasn't he, so she can get through. She then uses her supernatural powers, pass in through the interstice where scarce a knife blade could have gone. She just turns into a cloud and goes through, which is the less famous vampire powers, but I think that's pretty cool. And then I did have a game where you played as a vampire who could do the wolf, the bat, and the mist transformation. It was really cool. But anyway, that's a story for another time that you won't want to hear. Anyway, so we have they do this thing with the kid again. We shall leave him here. We shall leave him where the police will find him, as on the other night, and then to home. So they have this great plan. We'll just leave this injured child somewhere, or traumatized child. We'll just leave him somewhere where a policeman should walk in front. Yeah, I'm sure a policeman will find him. Yeah, that's fine. So again, it's Stoker short-circuiting any potential plot deviations. Then they left. So basically, Lucy goes back in and then they seal her in. So then there's yet another night when they come back. But of course, as I said before, in adaptations, they compress all of this because it's just more efficient and not having them go away and come back and go away and come back and go away and come back. It works fine in the novel, but if I was adapting it, I would make the same decision. You want to compress it. And then this is when they're actually going to confront her and kill her now as a vampire. So they've all got black clothes, funeral connotations there as well. Arthur already wore them. He had him with a long leather one, something like a cricketing bag. That's a cultural reference. The readers of the time would be more familiar with those very long. They'd have not like the modern ones, but the modern ones are still quite long, aren't they, of cricketing bags? But you just imagine like a big leather long bag, basically, manifestive of fair weight. So Van Helsing is coming fully prepared, fully armed for battle here. Similarly there, I just highlighted that one, trembling like an aspen. The body lay there in all its death beauty. There's quite a lot of these weird references to Lucy looking beautiful in death, aren't they, quite a lot of the time. Bit scary. So there's almost like, almost necrophiliac connotations, if I can say that, on YouTube. But anyway, then, is this really Lucy's body or a demon in her shape? It is her body and yet not it. So that's a paradox there. But wait a while and you all see her as she was and is. She's still like a nightmare of Lucy. She lay there. The pointed teeth, the bloodstained voluptuous mouth. So continuing the theme, the monstrous, the sexual element is there. A devilish mockery of Lucy's sweet purity. So anyway, they get the stake out. There's all of this stuff here. They get all the equipment. Before we do anything, let me tell you this. It is out of the lore and experience of the ancients and all of those who have studied the powers of the undead. When they become such, there comes with the change the curse of immortality. They cannot die, but must go on age after age, adding new victims and multiplying the evils of the world. For all that die from the preying of the undead become themselves undead, and prey on their kind. So Van Helsing is explaining, for the benefit of the contemporary readers, what we all know about vampires, and we know that they can create other vampires. But Van Helsing's knowledge is drawn on like the wisdom of the ancients as well. So we've said before about Van Helsing is a polymath. He's incredibly knowledgeable. He's got conventional scientific knowledge, but he's also got lots of esoteric knowledge as well, as in like obscure knowledge that that other people don't really know, and he knows other people don't. Friend Arthur, if you had met that kiss, which you know of before poor Lucy died, or again last night when you opened your arms to her, you would in time, when you had died, have become Nosferatu, as they call it in Eastern Europe, and would all time make more of those undead, so that they so have fill us with horror. So Arthur, that's why Van Helsing threw Arthur across the room to stop him from being bitten, and then when he would die, then he would become a vampire as well. If she live on undead, more and more they lose their blood, and by her power over them they come to her, so she draw their blood with that so wicked mouth. So that's all the little kids she's been drawing to her. So, I mean, yeah, would she make lots of vampire children? Again, that must be the idea, because it would again subvert motherhood and emphasize the horror. Then we have, instead of working wickedness by night and growing more debased in the assimilating of it by day, she should take her place with the other angels. I wonder if Stoker is maybe making some subtle allusions there to prostitution, maybe working wickedness by night, growing more debased, maybe, because obviously prostitution was rife in Victorian London as well. So if you think about this, that would work. Take this stake in your left hand, ready to... Oh, sorry, I forget to do the voice. I keep doing that today. Tell me what to do. Take this stake in your left hand, ready to place the point over the heart and the hammer in your right. Then when we begin our prayer for the dead, I shall read him. I have here the book, means the Bible, and the others shall follow, striking God's name, so that all may be well with the dead that we love, and that the undead pass away. So with the stake, there's, again, I've got to be careful how I phrase this, but again, you can put all the pieces together, but there's definitely phallic imagery here with it's Arthur, the fiancé. He gets a stake and he sticks it into Lucy. It's her heart. So Stoker is again using these ideas about subversion, but he's subverting the sexual relationship that they would have had if they were married. And again, I've got to be careful how I phrase this, but read about Lucy's death. The body shook and quivered and twisted in wild contortions. The sharp white teeth champed together till the lips were cut, and the mouth was smeared with a crimson foam. So yeah, put all that together, and you've got a picture there, haven't you, of what's going on and what Stoker seems to be doing. He looked like a figure of Thor, so again, not the Marvel superhero version, even though it is technically the same kind of being, isn't it really? But the idea of him hitting this hammer in. And they actually managed to kill her. The terrible task was over. Then we have... Yeah, actually, look at the aftermath of this. Great drops of sweat sprang from his forehead, and his breath came in broken gasps. So Arthur, he's very tired out and breathless, isn't he? Okay, connect all that to what I said earlier on. There you go. There in the coffin lay no longer the foul thing. That's not another Marvel reference, Marvel fans. Thing. You see what I did there? But no, it's the idea of thing, again, as a monster, the horror. And so dreaded and grown to hate that the work of her destruction was yielded as a privilege to the one best entitled to it. But Lucy, as we had seen her in her life, with her face of unequalled sweetness and purity, so she's lifted of the curse. and she's going to be able to rest in peace. God bless you that you give my dear one her soul again, and me peace. This is weird. And now, my child, you may kiss her dead lips. You've heard Arthur go, no thanks. But anyway, they'd all be covered in little children's blood as well. So I hope Van Helsing brought a cloth of some kind. Stoker doesn't explain that one, but yeah, he kisses her. But anyway, bit weird. Then this bit, they should do this in films. They never do they? The professor and I saw the top off the stake, leaving the point of it in the body. So in films, they often have things where someone comes in, pulls the stake out. Oh no, the vampire's come back to life. Well, if they did what Van Helsing and Seward did here and cut the stake down so it was flat on the chest, that would be much more difficult to do. Good work, Van Helsing and Seward. Well done. And they cut off the head, fill the mouth with garlic, which is, to be fair, what Van Helsing said he was going to do originally. They also then, so basically, if you think in terms of the structure of the novel, we've reached a point, we're halfway in the novel, just over halfway. We've reached this equivalent of what I think of as like a mid-novel boss. So they've managed to defeat a weaker vampire here. And now Stoker establishes, obviously now they've got to go, the author of all our sorrow, that's Dracula. So now they've got a much more difficult task to face. We have clues which we can follow. So what's to come again is a bit like what we saw with the Lucy stuff, but taken a bit further. It almost becomes like a detective novel in some ways. Obviously that was a popular genre in the time, if you think about Sherlock Holmes and everything like that. So that's another element of the novel. So not just the horror, but there's also this kind of detective and working out things and trying to pursue Dracula. I shall entreat two others, two that you know not as yet. It's Mina and Jonathan are going to be bringing themselves up to join them all, coming up to London, and Stoker is bringing all of these plot elements together, and then that means they're then ready. So it's very well structured. They're then ready now to combine all of their skills, and they become what they later call the crew of light, and they all bring different skills to the table, and they can go after Dracula. And we have this foreshadowed here, for there is a terrible task before us, and once our feet are on the ploughshare, we must not draw back. So that's a metaphor there at the end, but they've got to not turn back from the task and got to pursue it. So anyway, thank you for listening. That was chapter 16. Please like, subscribe, comment, listen to all the other ones. There's loads of other hopefully useful videos. Thank you for listening, and enjoy whatever you are doing for the rest of the day.